Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. This is Mikey Fett, and joined by Carillion Earl, and we are, of course, here to celebrate all things Mandalorian. We are talking about the first season of The Mandalorian. We're doing Chapter 3 tonight, which is The Sin.
The Sin.
Yeah, that's the name of Chapter 3. So, but first, there was a huge trailer drop.
Big week for Mandalorian.
Yeah, big week for The Mandalorian. A pretty cool poster, and then also the trailer for Season 2.
Yeah.
And there was some juicy stuff in that trailer. Right off the bat, it sets the tone because we hear the armorer. We hear her voice. Talking about basically the stuff that she said at the end of season 1, where she was basically telling the Mandalorian that he needed to get the child back to his kind. Now,
interesting. Now, what does that mean?
Interesting. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, and we can talk through that a little bit because she could certainly mean his species.
Okay.
But I think that she means his Jedi kind.
Like she says, doesn't she say something about a group of sorcerers or something?
Well, he does. He says the Mandalorian basically says, "You want me to trust a group of sorcerers that destroyed the Mandalorians or something along those lines." I mean, where he was talking about fought against the Mandalorians.
He was tying it to the Clone Wars.
He was tying it to the Clone Wars, right? Exactly. So, which was interesting in the Great Purge, exactly. So that was cool that they used that same voiceover because we see a lot of cool environments right off the bat. We're on a
damaged ship flying.
We see a damaged ship flying. We see a snow planet, which is always fun. Always fun.
Not Hoth.
No,
have you heard speculation about it?
It's not Hoth. I've heard some people call it Hoth. So it's not. Yeah, it's Hoth. I mean it's
William.
I don't know.
I've heard some rumors.
I know. That's interesting. So you're saying that because he's looking for coaxium, maybe?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, the crystals, right? Aren't there crystals?
Well, yeah. Oh, you're talking about
the child.
Yeah, I don't know.
Am I saying the right planet? I may not be. Is it Ilium or?
I'm not good at planets, dude. Okay. This is not bro.
Sorry, I watched a bunch of reviews.
We love Star Wars. We do, but I am not. This is not a Star Wars show. I don't deep dive, man. I don't.
I need you to break this down, brother.
No. I don't deep dive. But so the biggest thing that stood out to me.
What did you love about the trailer then?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, the image of Sasha Banks in a black cloak. I've heard all kinds of speculation. Some people think she is Sabine from Rebels.
Right.
I have seen specifically Barriss Offee, or maybe not her because I think she's dead in this timeline. I think that, but some people are saying something about like a Barriss clan, like somebody that maybe has some sort of devotion to being a dark Jedi, perhaps. And I thought that was interesting, because Barriss Offee, background there, she was the character that went sort of bad. I mean, she was the character that turned on Ahsoka.
I don't know that. But...
Oh, you don't know that? Yeah, she's the one that sort of turned on Ahsoka during the Clone Wars, and kind of went bad. She kind of went evil.
What season would that have been? I probably did.
Oh man, that would have been season. Well, I mean, that would have been season 5. I mean, they show some of that in season 5 because she's sort of around.
But isn't she too young to be?
Well, it's the whole stuff about when Ahsoka leaves the Jedi. Barriss Offee has something to do with that.
But since Banks is so much younger, I don't know. I would think she would be
Well, no, not really. I mean, she could pull that.
Aged, right? I don't know.
Yeah, no, to be Barasofi, no, but maybe she's somebody that, like I said, has some type of devotion or is a disciple or something. Like maybe it could have been not that Barasofi would have had something called a Padawan, but maybe it could have been somebody that was learning under Barasofi.
I heard one theory. Now I don't even know if I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
Latrant, some kind. No, Latrant. Anyway, some kind of like Jedi hunting clan that I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's a core. So the big thing that we saw in Rebels, obviously, was the introduction of the Inquisitors, right? I mean, so these were fallen Jedi that became Inquisitors working for Darth Vader to hunt down whatever Jedi may have been left after Order 66. And so, yeah, I mean, she may have been a former Inquisitor, but who knows? I mean, I personally want her to be Sabine.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
I would love that, but she did have she had a sort of a sour look on her face. I mean, sort of a disproving, like she disproved of the Mandalorian. She did not look happy to see the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was a hard read. Yeah,
it was. No, I mean, because we only see her for a split second, and of course, everybody has done screenshots of everything. I mean, it is what it is with that. I mean, it's fun though. To speculate, and I love this part of Star Wars.
That they do that, just kind of give you that little.
Oh yeah, and we know of a lot of other characters that are probably going to be in season 2.
A lot.
There was the thing that came out today about Tamura Morrison on some random website out of New Zealand having that he was going to be a particular character in season 2. I don't necessarily want to spoil anything for anybody, but you can look that up if you want to. But so we're pretty sure that he's at least in the series because of this website out of New Zealand where he is listed in the cast.
Yeah.
And then there was other rumors, obviously, about Ahsoka being in the series. Yeah. And heck, if Tamura
was already a confirmed thing, was that not?
Well, no, Disney never confirmed it. No, Disney never confirmed that. The only thing that Disney's officially confirmed at this point is that Sasha Banks is in the show because they, showed her in the trailer.
That Rosario had said something, but maybe
not really. Not really.
Could she be in the Obi-Wan show instead of this show? I wonder.
I mean, certainly. I mean that's a possibility.
Although she would be. Well, I'm trying to think of the timeline.
So there's a couple other crazy things out of this trailer that if you delve into it a little bit, there's a couple things that people claim to potentially have seen. But then also those things are debunked immediately on different websites. So there's obviously this X-wing that's up next to the Razor Crest, right? That's following. There's two. There's one on either side. The Razor Crest. If you look at that R2 unit, it looks like kind of blue, but then other sites are saying no. There's a green stripe. That's not a blue stripe. I mean, it's that kind of fun stuff.
That's cool.
And then there's even more grainy. There is. On the speeder bike, we see the Mandalorian on a speeder bike.
Right.
And if you zoom in, you can potentially see what looks like Boba Fett's jetpack and Boba Fett's helmet. So yeah,
where's Boba Fett?
Boba Fett. So yeah, I mean, it's just fun stuff to talk about. I mean, I'm excited for season 2. I'm glad that it is coming out October 30th. There is certainly people out there that for whatever reason, and I know it's just to get clickbaits, want to cause drama. There was stuff that came out this week about Pedro Pascal maybe being upset and actually walking off set. I don't believe any of that.
On set?
Right, exactly. I mean It's John Wayne's grandson or something that's in the suit most of the time. We see Pedro Pascal's face one time in season 1.
Right.
And most of it's just ADR, on a soundstage somewhere. So, I mean, I personally could care less if he's in it or not. I mean, because if the idea is that we never see Mandalorian's face, then who cares? Who cares? Just let the guy. Who cares if it's Pedro Pascal?
You get a face shot this season is what I've.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, as any actor would want his face to be seen, he probably wants a face shot. But
I like the water barge that he's on, and what's that species with the gosh, they live.
Dude, you're messing around. The Aqualish? Are you talking about the Aqualish?
Well, they live with the calamari.
I didn't see an Aqualish. I didn't see one.
Well, I don't know. It was mentioned in one of the things I watched.
Yeah. I don't know all that crap, dude. I don't pay attention enough to any of that stuff. No, I don't pay attention. I don't know species. I don't know planets. I would be horrible. Yeah, Quarren. Yeah. Thank you, Fetmatic. Quarren, exactly. Quarren. My bad.
Yeah, thank you for saving us.
Thank you for saving us there.
Well, either.
No. I don't know. I would be horrible in anything involving Star Wars trivia.
So maybe Fetmatic may know that the ice planet may be the same planet that becomes the Starkiller base later as one.
Oh no! Don't say that.
Nonsense. I'm sorry, Mikey, but
that's nonsense.
Is it Ilium or I don't know? It's some kind of planet that has crystals.
That's absolute nonsense.
What? No, I'm serious.
Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Part of the story. Anyway.
All right, so let's move on to. We're excited.
Okay, go ahead. The ending was great because I love that his whistling birds fired up.
Oh yeah.
And you see the child, l'enfant.
Yeah,
he's like looking and going, okay, here we go. He reaches over and hits the button.
No, it was an epic trailer. I loved sort of the Maori sounding music that they used at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was very cool. We were right earlier when we were saying Ilum.
It is Ilum. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't seen some of these speculations on some.
Yeah, I didn't.
YouTube, clips.
I don't do planets and species. That's not my thing. I love Star Wars, but I don't do planets and species. That's
Michael. I thought you were. I
know, right? I don't. Apparently, I don't. Star Wars. I don't know.
Yeah, with all your things behind you.
Yeah, no. I mean, Melissa's right. The trailer was great. The throat singing in the background was awesome. Yeah, it was like, yeah. I mean, that was great.
Yes. And just I liked that it didn't reveal a lot. It was very mysterious.
No,
people said, "Oh, I didn't like it because there wasn't enough action and it was kind of boring." And I was like, "No, just have it real sort of vague and mysterious."
Yeah. That's what a trailer's supposed to be. And I'm sure we're gonna get like another trailer, probably a couple weeks before the series starts or something like that. I mean, there'll be another trailer. The one thing that I don't want them to do in any trailer is flat out show if Boba Fett's in it. I don't want them to flat out show us Boba Fett, and I don't want them to flat out show us Ahsoka in a trailer.
I agree with that, yeah.
I want them, if they're in it, I don't want to see any of those characters.
Let's make it
now, I wouldn't mind seeing Cobb Vanth, if that's who Timothy Oliphant's playing. I wouldn't mind seeing him in sort of like a cool cowboy hat or something, just because Timothy Oliphant just looks awesome. In a cowboy hat, he's justified and
he's the classic. Yeah, he's the classic
Deadwood. I mean, all that stuff. But also, the other rumored cast members were Michael Biehn. At one point, was rumored to be in this thing. Very early on. Yeah, they said Michael Biehn was going to be in it. So I don't have any idea who he could be. I mean, I'm excited. I'm super excited, and it's really right. It's really right around the corner. This is why we're doing the first season of The Mandalorian. We're sort of trying to
get back to episode.
Yeah, we're trying to gear up to it. So we're doing chapter 3, which is titled The Sin. And it's of course that could mean a lot of different things. I mean, I think that
the sin, Michael?
Well, the way I take it is that, personally, I think that it's referring to the fact that he goes against the guild. That the Mandalorian goes against the guild. I mean, that's his sin. In my opinion, that's his sin, is going against the bounty guild and kind of being, excised from the bounty guild at this point.
Right.
What was your take on what it could be?
Yeah, no, that's actually really probably better. I was thinking the sin was that he turned in the child,
Right.
and was going to take the money.
Yeah.
He had his Beskar silver, sort of like 30 pieces of silver.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, and to me,
and then he redeemed himself by going in and. But I like your thought about breaking the guild code, and then he was activated.
That's just my idea. That's what I kind of like about it, is because in order for him to go do the right thing, he had to break the code of the bounty guild,
Right.
which was kind of like what he was hugely a part of. Now, obviously, the bounty guild is not any importance to him over the Mandalorian code.
This is the way.
Yeah, this is the way. I mean, so it may not be a huge sin to him, but I think that to me that has a lot to do with why they called it the sin, was because he is breaking the guild rules or whatever, and no longer part of the bounty guild.
Well, now he's on the run, right? He's going to be.
Yeah, basically for the rest of the season, he ends up being. Well, he ends up not necessarily being on the run from the bounty hunters so much. I mean, we don't see them going.
Right.
We don't see him going after. We don't see any bounty hunters necessarily. There was that one, but yeah. I mean, freelance job. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I mean, we sort of start the episode off where he's leaving, the planet. he has had the experience with the Mudhorn. The ship is repaired. He's leaving the planet that Quill is from, and heading back to. And again, I don't do planet names. I know everybody knows the name of the planet, but I don't care enough to know the name of the planet that he's going back to.
We'll call it the bounty hunter planet, the guild.
It's the guild planet. I'm sure Fatmatic probably knows the name of the planet, but I have no idea what the name of the planet is. So yeah, he's going basically to turn in the bounty. That's
collect his Beskar.
Collect his winnings, which in this case is the Beskar. So we see another great scene. Well, first we see some cute little stuff with the child, where he takes the little knob off of the
little handle. Oh, here's the name, Navarro.
Yeah, Navarro, exactly.
Navarro. Okay.
Thank you, Fatmatic.
I'm learning a lot tonight.
Yeah, Fatmatic's saving us tonight. But anyway, so we see that little cute moment where where the Mandalorian's kind of annoyed with it, and he swats his hand away or whatever. So they get back to Navarro so he can go to the client, which is anytime you get Werner Herzog on screen is a glorious time. And there's some interesting things said, I think, during this.
They scan him. They're scanning him. The doctor, I forget the doctor's name, but sorry, I know you don't do names or planets.
Well, it's Pershing, I think.
Dr. Pershing, that's correct.
Yeah,
that is right. Yeah, so they're, and then there's all that sort of like dread, like you feel so uneasy when those stormtroopers grab that bassinet and that and just. I
mean, stormtroopers don't give a rip about anything, so they're just sort of like grabbing things, and
it's so the tension they're ratcheting up was so good. Like this is probably. And again, I'm doing the rewatch with you. This is probably my favorite episode so far, for sure.
It's good. Oh yeah, out of the first three. I mean, the first one was pretty epic for obvious reasons, but the second one was fun. But so we're in the whatever. Well, I mean, he does look out of place, but he ends up playing an important role. Talking about, I mean, we think that he's a Kaminoan, which would assume that he's wanting to clone. So that's one thing, and that's jumping ahead a little bit, but that's one thing that the client says to Dr. Pershing: get the materials or whatever he says.
We must get the material. Yeah, so what are they extracting? What do they want to extract from?
Well, I think it's DNA, obviously.
Midichlorians.
No.
That's what the rumor. That's midichlorians. They're trying to get his force power.
So we'll just say DNA. We'll just say they're trying to get his DNA, which is essentially midichlorians. Sure, okay,
Well,
fine.
midichlorians are like mitochondria, but that's a whole.
Well, yeah, whatever. Science is hard. But so you get the material, and the client doesn't care if Dr. Pershing kills him, but Dr. Pershing, does everything.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Pershing does everything that he can to keep him alive, basically. Yeah, the actor does look a little different. Yeah, as Melissa's mentioning, but
he doesn't. Yeah, he looks like he just kind of walked in from some other movie. Maybe, I don't know.
I think the interaction between the Mandalorian and the client is pretty interesting. The Mandalorian is, obviously getting the bounty, and one thing that
Beskar Steel.
I
can't say quite like how he does.
One thing that the Mandalorian asks is, what's your plans with the child? And it's interesting because then the client says that's a question that's not generally asked by somebody in your line of work. You're treading into areas that normally a bounty hunter would not tread into.
Mostly bounty hunters do not ask.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a really cool interaction between those two. And so what it does though for the viewer is it obviously shows the viewer that he's conflicted, that the Mandalorian's a bit conflicted about what he's doing. Not conflicted enough to not take the bounty. I'll say this. I mean,
who wants that Beskar, baby? That's a lot of Beskar too. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
he's rolling in the stacks.
He's got stacks and stacks of Beskar.
So I think his conflict is that he cares about these foundlings, but is he potentially killing this child to get this? I mean, he's getting that Beskar. Some of it's for himself, but some of it's for the foundlings.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I mean,
is it that he still has this conscience that he's like, what am I doing to this kid, this l'enfant, the child?
L'enfant. Oh,
you mean leaving him with these?
You mean this little guy right here?
Oh, there he is.
Look at those eyes. So cute. Look at that baby Yoda.
Baby, look at the baby.
Forget the child. So that particular part ends. We get the idea that he's conflicted, but not conflicted enough to not take the bounty. So he takes it back to his clan.
And we learn a lot about the Mandalorians there, don't we?
Oh yeah, I mean we do. I mean, and one conversation that I had completely forgotten, and gosh, this is like the fourth time I've watched it, but the armorer actually mentions giving him the signet of the Mudhorn. And I had forgotten about that part. I'd forgotten she even mentioned that. And he turned it down. He was like, no, I was helped in my defeat of the Mudhorn by my enemy.
Yeah, I forgot that he turned it down.
Yeah, he totally turned it down because I guess the code would be if, you defeat
you have to be the one. Yeah,
you have to do it on your own. And, we're learning bits and pieces. I mean, like Melissa's saying here, it kind of wasn't a noble kill per se.
He actually
That's what he said because his enemy assisted him. And that being the child, and he doesn't go into details. That was one interesting thing that he
did say my enemy assisted me, didn't he?
Yeah, he said his enemy assisted him, but he didn't go into details of how the enemy assisted. He's keeping that close to the vest.
Yeah,
he doesn't necessarily want to share that with any of the Mandalorians around him because he knows that Mandalorians aren't necessarily best buds with the Jedi in general.
And I guess at first I was confused why the other Mandalorians didn't like him, but I think it's because he's out doing this bounty hunting. Is that
yeah, I mean I think that's the gist of it. I think that they're frustrated. Well, and they're also frustrated about this particular Beskar that he brought in was smelted in an Imperial, or created in an Imperial way. Yeah,
the wavy hand thing.
That's right.
Do the wavy hand. Do the wavy.
That's a good call, Fatmatic. But yeah, I mean, so there was a lot of stuff that you can take out of this particular interaction because, you're right. I mean, the other Mandalorians in the clan, especially the guy voiced by Jon Favreau,
He was pretty.
He's not thrilled. I mean,
I thought they had a little sort of almost a little exchange there in the middle of the
and the armorer stopped him because the armorer was like, look, this was, this Beskar was from the Purge. Yeah, that's right. Melissa's on it. Right?
Yeah. Because it had the symbol.
It had the Imperial symbol on it. Yeah, forged by our oppressor. Melissa's on it tonight. That's accurate. I mean, and so the other Mandalorians were like, we don't want this is almost like it's like dirty money almost, And the armorer is like, now hang on, we can make a lot of good stuff out of this dirty money. So the armorer is like, we can make a lot of stuff for the foundlings.
That might be the name of my new band, Dirty Beskar.
Dirty Beskar. No, that's accurate. I mean, he says that his armor is torn up by that Mudhorn, so he would like some new armor. Makes sense. She makes him some new armor, and then since he turned down the Signet, the Mudhorn Signet, there was enough left over to make the Whistling Birds.
The Whistling Birds.
But here's what's frustrating about this whole Whistling Bird thing. She's like, don't just willy-nilly use these Whistling Birds. They're hard to make, or they're rare. And he's out there just using them in the same episode. I wish they would have held on to the Whistling Birds a little bit longer.
To be honest, he was surrounded, so it was a good time to use it.
Sure, but I mean,
going to be captured, right? At that
is point. He really that afraid of? Is anybody really afraid of stormtroopers? I mean, let's be honest. Especially these particular stormtroopers. I
think these guys were kind of menacing, though. I like the dirty, grimy look of them.
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously like leftover from the Empire, but just clinging on.
I mean, I would get taken down by a stormtrooper easily. Yeah. You would. Come on.
They're way different than Moff Gideon's stormtroopers, though. Moff Gideon's stormtroopers are all like clean cut, like ready for action.
Yeah.
These guys that the client was using are like, these are like B grade.
Yeah.
These are worn hard stormtroopers that they're sort of a bunch of jerks, obviously.
No, I love the griminess of them. I was like,
they're unkempt.
Yeah, they look like they were itching for a fight anyway. They didn't like
they were gross. So he gets his new armor and then waltzes into the bar,
to
the cantina, and
and
then
Michael, you're frozen. Michael, come back to us.
No, I'm not frozen. I'm here. I'm good. What?
You froze, man.
I did?
You were frozen. We blanked out for a minute. There was
weird.
There was a temporal, spatial, well, maybe not spatial, a temporal gap. We had a time inversion, just like a minute.
Oh, an inversion. Uh-oh.
But we're back.
Yeah, we're good. And so we're talking to Grief Karga now, and he's, like you said, Mando. He's so great because he's like as loud as he possibly can. As loud as he possibly can. He's like, none of these other guys like you at all. He's like, and we find out that there was a ton of bounty pucks or whatever they're called out there because this was a big deal. I mean, there was a lot of money to be made, and the client was not going to have it. That the child was not captured, so he sent every single bounty hunter he possibly could to get this child, which I thought was funny.
And you get the impression a lot of them were killed on the way. That's what Quill said.
Oh, yeah, Quill. Yeah, he mentioned in episode 2 or episode 1 that a lot of them didn't survive the interaction with those guys that were watching the child, which I need a little bit of backstory on how those guys came upon the child.
Oh,
I hope we get some of that in season 2 because we certainly did not get any of that in season 1. I want some.
Yeah, who had the child captured, and how were they guarding it, and what were they going to do?
I know. I'd like. It's fine for now, and I get it. It doesn't bother me too much. but I would like some backstory on what, and I'm sure we're going to get it, but I would love some backstory on what's maybe not.
There were a lot of loose ends kind of left hanging.
Well, it's fine. It's just fine. You know, it is what it is with all that.
Yeah.
But
okay, so the child. So let's see, where were we?
Well, I mean, we're at a part now, basically, where the Mandalorian is sort of
he's about to fly off.
He just wants his next job, and he gets a diplomat son, which I would love to believe that was Akbar's son or something. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, they showed.
I would love that. I don't think it is, but I would love that if that was like, because they said a diplomat son, but Akbar is
general.
I mean, he could be a diplomat. I guess
he could be now in the New Republic. So
right. Oh, and you know what? That's an interesting thing that when Grief in that interaction with the Mandalorian and Grief Karga, he mentioned the New Republic or something, and the Mandalorian said, "Oh, that's a joke."
Yeah. Yeah.
So the New Republic, I wonder, you know, and this hasn't been explored.
Well, they're far out, right? They're not like right up under the Coruscant or anything, right?
Well, no, they aren't, but it just seems like that on the outer rim, which is kind of is maybe where Navarro is on the outer rim. I don't know for sure, obviously, but it seems like most normal people think the idea of the New Republic is a bit of a joke. And that's interesting. That's not necessarily, and it's somewhat surprising if you think about it. The New Republic's the one that took down the Empire, and yet, even though that occurred, it seems like the Mandalorian, at least, is like the New Republic's a joke. So I thought that was another tidbit that I kind of didn't pay attention to very much when I watched it the first 3 times. Yeah, I watched this episode. I was like, so it's just a little thing to throw out there. Like the New Republic might not be as well respected as one would think, you know, when they're the one. I mean, because they're trying to basically form a government as well. This is fairly new that the Empire has been taken down, and so maybe they're having a hard time getting planets to agree to be part of the New Republic. I'm sure that stuff's been explored in a book or a comic book somewhere that maybe I haven't read because I don't read all of them. I try and read as much.
You should write the
no. I guess it would be what was that? There's a novel that Claudia Gray wrote that has a lot of political stuff in it. Not Lost Stars, or maybe it is Lost Stars. Fetmatic, help me out. Is that Lost Stars that all that political stuff happens in? Maybe it is. Maybe that is the book. It was a really good book, and it sort of talks about
a lot of Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. It talks a lot about some of the political issues that are occurring in the New Republic. So yeah,
I just felt like this is kind of an outer rim place. These are bounty hunters. They want to live free. And if you think about it, if you've been enslaved by the Empire for all these many years, and all of a sudden there's freedom, but then there's other people saying, "Oh, hey, we still want to have a planetary." I'm sure a lot of these people are like, "No, we just want to do our own thing." You know.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
who knows though? I mean,
who knows? I mean, the Mandalorians feel like they have to be underground, which is another interesting thing. Timeline wise, we don't know much about what the Empire did to the Mandalorians. I think we're obviously going to get to see a lot of that because Moff Gideon has the Darksaber. So we're going to see a lot of that backstory, I think, hopefully in season 2, because that's going to play a big part in why the Mandalorians feel as if they have to be underground, because there's another, and just moving forward, you know, we see him take the bounty puck, and he goes to the Razor Crest. He's about to fly away. He sees the knob. He's like, "Oh gosh, I gotta." Lost Stars or Bloodline. Yeah, Bloodline was good. That was a good book. Both of those is like, if you haven't read much of the new canon And just because you're not a big reader, or you just think, all I have to watch is the films or the animated stuff, those two books, Lost Stars and Bloodline, are both really good.
Solid.
That you don't necessarily have to read all the Aftermath trilogy's garbage. You don't have to read that. But Lost Stars and Bloodline are really legit books that I think everybody should read, because it fills in some important blanks, I think. But anyways, we see him, playing with the knob, and he thinks he feels guilty, obviously, and we know he feels guilty already. We were sort of given that hint earlier in the episode, and we know that he's a good person. So he decides to go back for the child, and he goes back with a vengeance.
Yes,
he's taking everybody out.
There's that the little thing that sticks out of the wall. He snaps it off.
He snaps that off.
I love that part. I was like, oh, I forgot that. And then they come out to check out what's going on.
Yeah, and that was the scene that we alluded to earlier, where he sort of we're overhearing in a garbled way a conversation that the client and Dr. Pershing are having.
Right, he's looking through a wall or something with some kind of.
He's got something in his helmet or something that he can look through the wall, and we sort of hear that conversation where the client's like, "Get the material you need and kill it," and Dr. Pershing's like, "Oh well, I think that our boss wants him alive. I'm going to keep him alive. I can still get what I need and keep him alive."
I like that there's another entity out there that's the boss. That's right.
Well, I mean, that we obviously know now. We know now who that is, but no, we didn't. Yeah, it's Moff Gideon, obviously,
okay.
But so they.
I forgot that I knew that.
He takes everybody out, basically, and it gets to a point where he, like we mentioned earlier, he has to use the whistling birds, and he takes a bunch of stormtroopers.
There's some pretty intense kills in there for a Disney show. I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah. No, there's some great action.
They're not pulling any punches here. They're it's not like he's just using a stun gun, or one guy he like hooks and pulls back and then stabs him. I was like, whoa, they're going for the full.
There's some fantastic action sequences and really, really good stunt choreography in this episode. So he rescues the child, and he's trying to get back to the Razor Crest, and in comes Grief Karga with pretty much.
Well, that was a great scene. All the
fobs, all the trackers go crazy. And pretty much every bounty hunter that's on Navarro is coming after the Mandalorian at this point. And there's another great, and that's something that we forgot to mention, that Deborah Chow directed this episode, and it is so good. I mean, it's probably. I think I agree with you, Earl. Like, out of the first three, at least, I mean, this is my favorite one out of the first three. There's just
ratcheting that tension, and you're just
there's a lot of good dialogue that you can miss easily. And like I did, I mean, a lot of it started to click more in this particular viewing. A lot of the stuff that they said started to click a bit more. And giving us a little bit more meat than maybe we thought at first. When I first saw it, you don't pick up on everything. That's why it's important. That's why it's important to watch some of these episodes a couple of times. The dialogue is really important, and you can get a lot out of the dialogue in it. And so I'm glad we're doing this rewatch, because I'm getting stuff out of it now that I definitely did not get. Because the third time I watched it, I just did a quick binge and watched it all in one night. I watched all 8 episodes in one night. And so I like that we're doing it weekly. So it's almost like I'm watching it again for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm able to retain more of it. And I try and watch it like right before we do these episodes, so I can like retain as much as I possibly can. But another good action sequence. What now?
I love the street standoff that they.
Oh have. Yeah. He's on the barge with I guess that's an R5 unit that's driving the little barge.
Doesn't Grief Karga come out and say, "Mando"?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's very.
You broke the code.
Yeah, it's very Western-esque.
Yeah.
I mean, you draw type thing.
Those guys are walking through. You see them sort of setting themselves up, and he's doesn't he say something to that droid like, drive, and the droid's like, wow.
Yeah, and he threatens the droid, because we obviously know
He hates droids.
that Mando hates droids because of his back, and we see a couple more scenes, some flashbacks. It seems every time that the armorer is creating something, it makes him flash back to his childhood.
Yeah,
and we see another super battle droid, which who would have thought we would ever get to see a super battle droid again?
That's cool. That was cool.
It was awesome. I love all of that stuff. So we saw a little bit of that again in this episode, a little flashback. He's got some PTSD from when he was a kid, basically, that he's still dealing with.
So Mando's on that little skiff.
He's on the skiff thing.
Dude, I remember thinking, I was like, how's he going to get out of this? Because I was like, dude, he is pinned down hard.
He was taking a lot of people out.
Yeah, he was.
But then in the end, they finally shot the R5 unit. The R5 unit's down, so therefore the little skiff thing's down, or the barge thing's down. He's just laying there, and it's pretty much over for him.
Well, that's what I was saying. That yeah.
And then the clan comes, the bounty hunter clan comes and saves the day.
Not the bounty hunter clan.
No. The
Mandalorian
clan comes.
And let's not call them clan. Let's call them a group.
A guild? A guild?
I don't know what they are. Anyway.
Well, they're a clan. Whatever.
It's a guild. Okay, whatever.
Whatever. So the guild.
Clan without a K. Let's be clear.
Sure, exactly.
We're not talking the clan here. We're talking.
We're not. Of course
not. And then the clan comes. I was like, dude.
Of course not. Of course not.
No, that was awesome. We got to see them use their rocket packs.
Yes.
Dude,
that was. And think about it. Just so awesome. I mean, because we saw that a lot in the animated series, obviously, but to see it in live action, a group of Mandalorians using their jetpacks, coming down to save the day. The flamethrower gets used. The heavy gun gets used, and he's just like mowing people over.
Amazing.
And one little piece of dialogue that's important during that particular scene is the recognition from the Mandalorian to the heavy blaster guy that they're going to have to move the guild or whatever we're going to call it, Earl, the clan, the guild, whatever you want to call it.
And he said,
well, he said, this is the way. I mean, he's like, basically, they know they're going to have to move it. So
why? So let me ask you this, because maybe I don't fully understand this yet. Why do they have to be in hiding? Really? Because
we don't know. See, that's one thing that we don't know.
Yeah, why do they feel like they need to be hiding? Maybe they could just come out and be free.
I'm not sure. That's a really interesting thing, and I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, again, that's another piece of information that I don't think we fully have, that I'm hoping will get revealed in season 2. Like, why did this group of Mandalorians that were on Navarro feel like they had to remain underground? And really, like, Mando's the only one that goes out. I mean, because he's obviously out there doing business, and so there's not too much fear if he's out there doing business. Now, if they're just trying to get more numbers, maybe, or because they keep mentioning the foundlings, so there's obviously some kids. There's kids running around somewhere that they're trying to still teach what's the word? It would teach the way, but it's more of not a code, but a because we learned that the Mandalorian aren't necessarily a people, that it's more of like a code or whatever that these people live by. It's not necessarily. I
mean, Mandalore was a planet, though, right?
Yeah, Mandalore was a planet, but the you don't have to be. I guess the point of it is you don't have to be born on Mandalore to be a Mandalorian. I think that's the whole point of it.
How are they going to work things? Because, like, in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, I mean, Sabine is a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
What's the? Oh God.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, this is a good point from Fetmatic. I mean, the Mandalorian numbers are diminishing. I don't know if that's necessarily why they feel like they have to remain underground.
I was thinking more about the helmet thing because in the Clone Wars, they're always taking their helmets off.
Well, right. I mean, and
Well,
that's they'll have to explain all that. I mean, they'll get to
Right.
that point and have to explain all that.
What's-
If that is Sabine, if
What's the
Sasha
sister that's supposed to show up? The
Bo-Katan. I mean, that's another
Bo-Katan. Yeah, Bo-Katan.
that's another big casting thing. Is Bo-Katan.
But I mean, if I don't want them to all be helmeted. If they've hired like people like what's her name that
Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff. I mean, I want to see her. I don't want to. They can keep Pedro covered all day, but I'm just saying. I want them to be like they are in the in the Clone Wars, where the masks are coming off.
Well, I mean, and I just
Maybe
wonder.
It's sects, sects of the clan. Maybe it's different sectarian groups of the Mandalorian.
It could be
beliefs. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because there's different. There's certainly different clans or sects. Because there's there's Bo-Katan and she's got her own group. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. But obviously during the Clone Wars and during Rebels, the whole helmet thing wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But maybe
from the Purge or something.
Maybe because of the Purge, maybe because their numbers are diminishing, they feel as if they have to remain vigilant and leave the helmets on or whatever.
But it's not been that many years, has it? It was what are we looking at? 30 years, maybe 20 years?
Nah, not even.
Well, we don't know when the Purge was, though, do we?
No, I mean we don't know. We don't know too much.
I would assume the Purge was when, in the end of Clone Wars season 7, Ahsoka and
see, that's not the Purge, though. There's something.
That's not the Purge. Okay.
No, there's something else. I think that's really old. I think that the whole like Jedi sorcerer whole thing with Mandalore, that's like way old. That's before the Clone Wars. I think that particular war, the Jedi Purge that they keep, I think that was before the Clone Wars.
Well, because it's weird that Mando calls them sorcerer. Like, he calls them Jedi. It's only been about 30 years, and then there's
I mean, we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation before. Like, how many people have laid their eyes on a Jedi before? Probably not that many, and there should be history.
Yeah, but you wouldn't forget, right? It's only been 30.
No. Yeah, you wouldn't. But it seems like in Star Wars, a lot of people
Order 66.
A lot of people are very forgetful in Star Wars and just forget. But he calls them. Well, I mean, and that.
I mean, what is it? I know the name of the French Foreign Legion, but I don't
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Legionnaires, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Corsairs. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's like you said in our last episode, Han Solo sort of doesn't believe in wizards and the magic. He says that kind of thing too.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm not saying they believe in the Force. I'm just saying.
Right.
Anyway, but maybe an off-world planet, a group of Mandalorians that are separated out, a sect of Mandalorian. Anyway, a clan of Mandalorians, if you will. A clan.
So so we see Mandalorian, we see Mando escape and
he sneaks on his ship.
But as he's trying to escape, of course, Grief Karga, and we see the fistful of dollars ending where he had something that blocked the laser bolt, and it was
I'm glad for.
Unironically, Beskar blocks the laser bolt, so we find out that Grief Karga's just fine, which is good because we need lots and lots of Grief Karga, like in every episode. I want Grief Karga in every single episode. We see Mando going away to who knows where. He's just on the run now, basically, because he's no longer part of the Bounty Guild. He's basically a man on his own now because he's no longer part of the Bounty Guild. He's having to not be with Mandalorians anymore. So this guy's like by himself at this point, and he has nobody. But he's got this child that he's now running also from what one would assume he thinks is probably the Empire, seeing as how the Imperial symbol was on the Beskar. So I would assume he is thinking, hey, this Beskar I just got came from this guy that had a bunch of stormtroopers with him. I'm probably on the run from the Empire now as well. I mean,
Some kind of Imperial remnant, yes.
That's, pretty... You could put those things together pretty easily, I would think. So he's on a run. He's on the run from a lot of people.
Maybe the spark of the First Order.
Yeah, the spark of the
First Order. Whatever that he gets. Well, burn down. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good hux. That's a pretty good hux you've got there.
Yeah.
I think that we've said all we can about this particular. We've almost gone We've almost got an hour, so we're gonna.
Wow.
Yeah. You think so, Fett? You think?
I don't.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a reach. Maybe. I mean,
I think he was just shooting to get him off his plane, man. He's like,
I think so too. I think he was he's like, I don't care if you're gonna die at this point, dude. I mean, because he doesn't have much loyalty to him, necessarily. I don't think, like, Mandalorian, I think when it comes down to it, like, the only loyalty that he really had was to his people. And obviously he felt some guilt about the child, so he went for the child too. So I
mean, we assumed that he was an orphan after his parents were killed.
No, totally.
That's why he has this heart for the foundling and also for the child.
Well, I mean, and that's the point that I was trying to make earlier, that, I mean, you don't have to be born on Mandalore to be a Mandalorian.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of
a true Mandalore native.
Yeah. Because it's more of a code in a way. It's not necessarily you are a specific person born on this specific planet. We know that in canon for right now, we know Jango Fett was not a true Mandalorian. We know Boba Fett was not a true Mandalorian. They just had the armor.
That's good.
So, yep. So anyway, I think that wraps up chapter 3, the sin. So we will certainly be back next week to tackle chapter 4. And leading up into season 2, and we're going to continue to do this for every episode of season 2 as well. And you can find the Deucecast movie show, which is our weekly podcast, just a general movie discussion and whatnot. You can go to the Deucecast.com for that. Obviously, we're part of a channel called RetroZap, and so you can go to RetroZap.com that has a lot of really fantastic podcasts, and then the Discord page as well, which the Deucecast movie show, we have a sub channel on RetroZap's Discord channel. So if you're interested in that,
not Discord. Sorry, Dave's not here
Yeah, Dave's not here. We're not doing that. That's just for Dave. So yeah, definitely go to RetroZap's Discord, and we're on there, and we have good conversation throughout the day on that. So I appreciate everybody watching. As most YouTubers would say, please subscribe to our channel. Please like the channel. Please share, make comments. Anything like that will help get us into viewing on like the main page. The more likes we have and the more subscriptions we have, just will help the channel out. So would love to have more subscriptions on our YouTube channel as we continue this little side show that we're calling the Deucecast Extra, so we can talk about TV stuff, because I watch a lot of TV, like I know Dr. Earl does. I don't just watch movies. I watch a lot of TV. I'm watching a ton of shows right now, probably too many to keep up with.
You do watch a lot.
I love
finished Cobra Kai, so
oh yeah, we're gonna do Cobra Kai season 3. That's kind of been teased that we're gonna do that, and I think that's supposed to come out in the spring of next year. So we're gonna do season 3 of that. So and this isn't something we necessarily going to do every week, but we might take a little break around the holidays. Like once season 2 of The Mandalorian ends, we'll probably take a little break on the holidays and then pick it back up for Cobra Kai season 3, probably. Just because, who knows? Who knows what we're gonna do? We might keep it going. With YouTube content, apparently you have to do something a lot. And we'll
do
try.
all of Cobra Kai leading up to Cobra Kai.
Oh man, that's
be
too
long.
much. That's too much. That's crazy talk. So until next week, everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Oh, nice fit, Matt. That's a good show. Sorry, the Americans. Later, everybody.
Peace out.